we've not even talked about each other like this.
I know.
Camera.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's go. It's the most beautiful time of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chebet Makena's channel. And as you can see, we're all dressed differently. Yesterday we were recording the video that you're still watching. And we had to end it because it was getting dark. So we decided to record it before we left for Karura. Which is, we were supposed to have left by now. But some people, we're not going to mention who.
No one is mentioning.
So, had to take your time. So as you can see, us guys are ready to leave, but we have to finish this video first. That's how important this is to us.
Yeah.
So Karura is going to take us away.
Okay. What advice will you give to your newly married selves, knowing what you know now? Moment of silence.
Yeah.
The witness on the question. Okay.
I can go first. I think don't have pressure. I don't know if that's good English, but don't have pressure. Everything will fall into place with time. It's okay to take it slow. It's okay to learn along the way. No one is perfect. You figure yourself out along the way, and things fall into place along the way. Yeah.
I like that.
I think just to add upon that, and just to expand on it, it's really allow yourself to learn, because there's something Makena and I were saying the other day when we were fighting, is that we haven't done this before. We haven't been married before. So allow yourselves to learn through each and every situation, whether bad, whether good. Just allow yourself to learn the other person.
I don't like talking about these topics because I feel like I don't know enough. I haven't gone, like, personally I say we haven't gone through enough experiences to be experts. But then I've realized also, because yes, it's true, we haven't gone through enough experiences to say we are experts on it, but that's why we celebrate. That's why we do a video once a year, because like it's good to do things in hindsight, like when we're able to look back.
Exactly.
So I think it's the same thing for just take time. Like you don't have to have everything right the first time. And also, I don't know whether most people are like me. There's always those concerns for example, like before we got married, like I'll be like maybe like a month, 2 months to our wedding. Whenever I hear couples who have been married for like 2 years have split, I'll be so shocked. I'll be like, not heartbroken, I'll be so fearful. I'm like, what? You know, that was before like we got married. I was like, wow, manzi. After 2 years, people, you know, and hey, man, that thing was. But then now we've gotten married, and now it's been 2 years now. And I've realized now it's the 14 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then people split. I'm like, what is this thing? But then I realized I can't live my life like that. So we take the third year the way it comes, and we clock in the 14. Like, man, I think the best you can do is hope the things you're doing, the things that you're able to do, you're doing them right. The things that you're not able to do, just let them be. But just hope like the steps you're taking each and every day, the simple steps, they are right. Like the things that work for you, and they're like also not right just for the moment, but also for your future selves. And then after that, man, it's in a formula. I feel like also at some point you just have to live by faith and be like, you can live. I think in Christian kingdom you can say live by faith. In the world you can be like, sometimes you just have also other things, just have to wing it. Like kuna vitu zenye you can't get bogged down by the details because you will not move. So sometimes just wing it as you move on, and then everything will like what is in focus this year is not what will be in focus next year. And no one will tell you this thing. Sometimes things just come up from experiences or like from like certain desires. Like mna feel to this year tunataka kufanya hiki kitu, and then next year you feel like you want to do a different thing, and you just roll with it.
So I think for me it's also that, in the line of that, because I used to feel like if we go through something, if we disagree about something now, let's not disagree about it again. Like, let's finish that and focus on another thing. But I would tell myself to appreciate the journey and and that I will be stretched, because marriage is one of those things that exposes you. In like all of it is for your good, but I don't think there's any experience ever that prepares you for marriage. I just feel like marriage is so special in that way. It exposes who you are, and it's you're so vulnerable, and you stretch out because you're not used to being like that. So I think that's what I would tell myself, because we were told, but I don't think also it lands on you.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You have the mental knowledge.
Yeah.
You really do. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, by the time you're getting there, like
You're
think about how
Situation for ground.
say better come when you like maybe let's say like a singles in church. Think about all the sermons you've watched about marriage.
Yeah.
You know the way they say single people are the best people with marriage advice. It's because it's knowledge. It's because it's
Wanajua.
and if it tulikuwa tunajua, but now
When it comes to application.
when it comes to application, man, like when it comes now to the ground, like let's say in finances, there are things you know about finances and how to do it, and
That's
you
how
know.
you should do it.
But then no one tells you when you get there, the emotions attached.
Yeah.
You have to figure out the emotions attached.
When you get there.
You like no one tells you sometimes you need to make a financial decision when you're fatigued, and that will affect the kind of decision you make. Like let's say if it was on a good day, you would have made the decision you make, but because of the fatigue, because maybe of the stress levels, you make a different decision, and no one tells you this. But if you are knowledge, manze uko nayo hapa, you'll be like, this is how you should do it.
Hope I'm not scaring you guys, because I think it's also like the most beautiful journey.
That's right.
Like genuinely, it's of course growth is painful, but growth is also very beautiful. So
Yeah.
And it's not meant to be scary. It's just
Yeah.
like
it's
balance.
Yeah.
It's the sort of balance between reality and life and like what we know. Yeah. So, the second question. Can you share a specific moment that tested your relationship and how you overcame it together?
I don't remember that question.
It's here.
What do you mean you don't remember it? I remember it.
This is the one question that you read it out the first time, and you are all like,
what is the question?
what is this? Honestly,
I can't remember.
honestly, I wouldn't say
A situation.
I wouldn't say like a particular situation. As I said, 2 years
That made you?
that made you.
That
Sorry.
tested your marriage.
Tested your relationship and how you overcame it together.
Okay.
I think I can share because ours was a bit recent. So each one of us has been brought up and developed differently. We've come up from
It's
different
so
homes.
scary because I don't know how
So
What to expose
we've
We are
grown
about
up
to
in
learn it
different
all
homes.
together.
She's about to hear
We're hearing it all together for the first time.
how she's even like, what is this? But for me, that was the moment because I think, and I think it's also because we're just in our second year of marriage. When you're married in your first year and even second year, I don't know about, we're still in our third year, so I can't say much. But I feel like when you're still in the young years of marriage, there's some things you kind of like tolerate, because you're like, I love her and she's cute. Like it pisses you off. It really pisses you off.
Cute.
Hey, it's so cute. Yeah. So I think for me, and we had this conversation the other day. It's communication. So this is such a I don't know whether I feel like generally it's a ladies thing, but also men do it in a different way because we actually had this conversation. Just wish I could remember how it was reflected on my side. But I remember that morning Makena communicated something. She communicated something and I knew what she was doing.
He did, and I knew he knew.
I knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And all this time that we've been together, I know what she's doing. But I was like, I can't take this anymore. You can't just say something in reverse psychology.
Do you want to give context?
Okay. So I was living.
Let me help that part.
Okay.
So,
So what happened?
So let me tell you guys. So I usually have not usually, but this particular day I was struggling with what to put on. So of course, because there's a mirror, yeah, but there's also a human being. So I asked the human being, how do I look, right?
The human being is the husband.
Yeah.
In this,
In this case.
in this case.
So I wore something, and then I asked him, how do I look? Then he was like, it's not working. I was like, what's not working? He's like, I don't know. And then he moved on. Like, he literally even had earphones. So he just went. So I was like, Sasa, I don't know what's not working. So I don't even know what to fix. So I was like, I'll just remove the outfit altogether. And I put on something else. But we were getting late. So we were going to the same place. So I told Ethan, okay, Sawa, you just go. I'll find my way. So of course he's going with the car. Then me, I have to find my way. How? Who knows? So of course I didn't mean go, but Ethan was like, okay, Sawa. So he prepared, and then I had the door opening. Like, he didn't even tell me he was going. So I was like, he's actually going. And you see, I knew that he knew that I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
But now this is what he's saying. He couldn't take it anymore. So see, he started going, and then I was like, babe, you can't go, nini. So that's now the situation. Continue.
Well, she didn't say you can't go, but well, let's just say that's where the fight began.
Yeah.
And for me, it was so it's where you have the reason why I knew what she was doing is because she had been doing this in little like just so when that happened, to be straight, you're not gonna use the emotions every single time to communicate to me what you want.
Yeah.
You get and we really had a big fight. Like it was
just from that.
We
like,
really
it was a huge
had a
argument.
big fight.
Yeah.
But I think when we came back together to sit down and talk
we
about
even
it.
stopped arguing about how I looked and
Yeah.
the issue. That wasn't even the issue.
So when we came back to talk about it, we realized from both ends it was a place of communication. It was we each had our expectations and there was so this is what I learned that day. For ladies, there's an expectation emotionally for you to know them. For men, there's an expectation of logic. Use your head. This is if you want to tell me something,
Just say.
just say that this is what you want.
Yeah.
Don't try games with me. Like this is the way it
Yeah.
works. So when she told me you can go, I was like, I know what you're doing and I'm going to go. So let me go because
guys.
you actually think that but that's not the point. The point is that moment for me opened my eyes to how communication is very important.
Yeah, very.
Like
very.
we can't for guys we have to be at the point of seeing through their words. For ladies they have to be at the point of let me just speak my heart at this point.
Yeah.
You get and the reason why even that logic still continues to work, it's because let me tell you that day didn't fix everything. It doesn't mean that from today onwards Makena will never use it behind me, and it doesn't or rather towards me, and it doesn't mean I won't have that expectation towards her. It's just that now having learned that we'll be able to know if he gets pissed because I used this, and I know why, and I know to apologize for it, and I know to track back like hey, pull up, you're getting into territory that will really piss each other off. Because I remember that fight was really big. It was so big, like I don't know even how, like it was so big, like people considered leaving. People.
This is the stroke that brought the camel's back.
I can leave and go. You
So why did you guys separate?
I told him he can leave and he left.
So that day, because I think for me, the reason why I say it was a place of testing is because I had seen this play out for a couple of months. And I was like, I can't see another couple of years this happening. So I have to nip this in the bud today. You get. So that's why, and I remember telling her, you're not going to communicate to me that way.
Mm.
That's just it. I know what you're doing, and you're not going to communicate to me that way. You get. So for me, it was a point of testing because it was how now do you now, rather it was for you actually go back into how you communicate to your other person. Yeah.
I can probably, this is what comes to mind. I remember this one time. I think the context there would be, I feel like now, let me just give the story and then we'll collect lessons as we go on with the story.
And where are you also? You're just like, what's about to be said right now?
I'm curious.
But it happened. There was this one time. We were meant to order food out. We were meant to order food, and then Mama was the one with the cash. And then in the middle of us trying to figure out how to order and everything, we had a fight.
Hold up. Can you guys see the small issues? It's never at alimtukana. No. It's never. It's always the same. It's ningua hapa ni order pale. Like literally.
Yeah, so it wasn't even about the food ordering or something. It's like the way we can be like, yo, for example, like so we are living here and you're going to Karura. So it's agreed, and then maybe like in the middle of this conversation, something just happens. You know, something just happens, and then we begin to quarrel and fight. So it was something like that. So after we quarreled and fought, I was like, so me when I'm back a bedroom, me because this woman will order food for herself,
And I don't have the money.
and I don't have. At that time I didn't have cash, so it was paying in her cash. So me nilikuwa najua bus. Today is the day I'm sleeping hungry. You know. So I can't. So me niko kwa room, nimekaa. So it gets to like maybe probably food comes in at around like 30 an hour minutes later, but me niko kwa room. So I hear the door. So so I hear the door. So food imekaa, nikasikia kikula. So niko kwa bed tu, yani nasema tu yeah, what did I do? And you'll have been wise and waited for food to arrive, and then you fight.
Eat fast and then fight.
You know, but maze ikafika mahali, and then that's the day just hunger decided. It's me and you. It's me and you. Man, so nimetoka bedroom, nimejihumble. By the way, let me tell you, when I got when I left the living room, I didn't even ask her whether there's food. I asked her whether she had leftover food. You know, I was like, went back share food. And then she was like, see, food yako kitchen. I'm like, what you ordered for me? She was like, babe, I'm not like that. You food is in the kitchen, you know. So I think now that day, it's like it was for me. It was the place for realizing I can actually be vulnerable with her, and the consequences won't be, as in it won't be mingling each other. Because I feel like saa zingine as men tukiingia mode ya nitakushow. So if I have an advantage over you, I'll make sure you know I have an advantage over you. And you know, I think for me that was the mind. I was like, in this situation, she has the advantage over me. So I was ready to suffer the consequences of that. But then I think now it has happened like twice. It happened like twice, and she's like, I mean, tumekosana lakini there's food for you, like it's not like that. So for me, I feel like that was one.
Trophy Wife Chronicles.
Woman of virtue. But it's true, right?
So
I find it, and just to compliment both of them, it's something I find interesting. Whenever, even Makena, even when I'm at tumekosana, haniekangi njaa. Atanipikia, hata kama tutakula pamoja, atapika
wala
you do what you gotta
do. Because I sat down and I was like, if that day that had happened,
you were the Wamoyo.
No, not if I was the Wamoyo. In that case, she was the main girl to me. Because sure, I mean, you know those things. I'm like, Aki, I will make sure I always have money, and she will know me. So now to my place, we can separate our fights from our life. I don't know if it makes sense. Like
it's you against the fight, not the.
It's not even that. It's that, but also is our life. This is our life, and these are the things that happen to us in our life. So, if, for example, like there are days we fight. We just like we really want to talk about this today. Like the day for our birthday. But then after I was like,
you want to try that sometime?
So it was like,
Like
so
we'll celebrate the birthday.
we'll celebrate,
Deal
and I
with
think
that
we
later.
finished that
I
fight like 2
struggle.
days later.
Yeah,
Like,
imagine.
because the birthday was Sunday, I think, no.
And then Monday.
And then on
we
Monday,
want to rest
Monday is
and
usually our
watch
rest day, so
yeah.
we don't like any
Yeah.
heavy thing. So we were like, try watch 2 movies
Imagine.
to relax. And then on Tuesday is when we were like, so are you ready to talk about what happened?
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, so let's just talk about it. And that's now.
Yeah.
I've only done that once since we got
Then you
married.
could-
And I said that time, I said, oh, he wants us to keep quiet, and
But I
did
think
talk to him.
I think the key is to actually communicate that. So as
Yeah.
we don't keep
Yes.
quiet. So as we don't keep quiet,
Yes.
at kila mtu
Yes.
anachezea.
Yes.
It's, you see, the thing is,
But they communicated, they said, let's talk about
Let's
it.
we
Yeah,
don't fight
and
about this
that's
now.
what I
Not
always
walking
do.
out on me
No, man, don't
and
walk
leaving
out.
me there wondering.
Don't walk out. May don't walk
By
out.
set a time or not.
Let me tell you, May don't walk out. I always tell Makena, I can't have this conversation right now. I don't feel like having it because this is for me what I feel. This is for me what I feel. This is for me what I feel. Yeah. I never feel like I'm productive or like I'm wise or even sober when I'm angry. When I feel like I can say things that I don't even mean. You get. So when it gets to that point, I just shut down. I'm like, I don't have anything else. Because at that time in my mind, I'm like, ooh, girl, you don't know. You don't know.
But let me ask, do you think it's a personality thing? Where like maybe a certain personality is like me, we just have to deal with things
Right
I
now.
think so.
Okay.
Because you know, for me, I can't progress with my day. Literally.
You can't put it aside and
Literally, yeah.
move on with
And
the
you see,
day.
there's one day that happened, and you see what Ethan did. He texted me and told me, "Nini, like I know we fought, but please have a good day." I know, so it shows that he has me in mind.
Yeah.
But you see, if you just go, I don't know. Are we talking? Are we just going to let it slide and just So for me, it's the communicating. Let's
But
not
there's
talk about
something-
this now.
there's
Let's talk
something
about
you-
it. Because for me, I can't. Like I cannot pretend to be happy. You will notice that something is wrong. Yeah.
There's something you did though recently that I liked. You come on, don't go away.
Let me see. For me, I don't know if this answers the question, but this is what comes into mind because I'm also like Ethan. I like taking my time and just relaxing and like relaxing my emotions. So it will take a couple of days. It won't even take hours. It will take
Do
days.
you know the funny thing about that is when I do it, she gets angry at me.
No, babe, no.
It's like, no, babe, how many times have I come and said something to you and then you're like, so umekuwa na kitu kwa akili all this time and you've never said it.
Moving on. Let's compare.
3 days later.
But like in my view, I feel like Aromo is the kind of a person who talk to me now, tell me what's going on, and me maybe in that moment I am so angry, and I know when I get angry I become a very very mean person. So I end up saying very very mean things, which I don't want to. So I want to go through the whole thing alone in my mind.
Yeah.
I go through it, and then by the time I come out of it, I'm more sober because I feel like in that process maybe the Holy Spirit has talked to me and all that. I've thought if I say this is going to be the outcome. If I say this, if I act like this is going to be the outcome. There's a time I'll tell like 3 different examples of fights. There's a time, this was like one of our first major fights. Kiingereza inagonga mwamba.
Face.
Yeah. Our first
Josie is calling. Josie is calling.
our first big fight. So it was about clothes. Like kukuja nguo. Mi sikuwa nimesettle when I got married. So like the first 3 months, my closet was looking very, very
We can attest.
and Romo was always kunja hizo nguo. Niko like, whoa, nitakunja. It's not because everyone has their own closet. So I'm like, you see your closet looks good. Yangu inakusumbua. Kwa nini inakuashiani?
Inakuashiani ndugu.
Pilipili usiona.
So one day he brought that fight out of nowhere. Again, I remember that day
He
I
was
was in
just
such
chilling.
a peaceful place. You know, I'm like, hey, this marriage thing is good. Okay. Out of nowhere. Akakuja huko na mafight. Aki we fought. And it was at night. I remember it was like at 9 p.m. And he's like, as in akaongea vibaya sana. So me, I got angry and I left the house at 9 p.m. Mind you, no, was it 9 or
It was like
12?
12.
Oh yeah, we
was
fought
like
like the
midnight.
fight was like a long
Like 3 hours.
yeah.
You know the funny
And then-
thing, just hold on. I told Makena this day, if we fight, you have to put a timer.
2 hours.
2 hours. Hey, kwa sababu ukifight, unajua tunacheza. You know you'll be late. It's just like timer.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Argument,
Wait
argument,
fast.
argument,
Hey,
presentations, number 1, go.
Imagine. And so ikafika valley niko, you know what? I'm even going to leave. Let's see how you're going to survive without me. I was so angry.
Yeah.
I left and it was like at 12 a.m. And this place, like when like at those times there's no one on the road, like everything is quiet.
Yeah.
Like
It's
so I
pitch
started like just walking. I did
Going
not even
where?
know where I was going. I just went. I had my phone, but I went. Nikatembea nikafika huko kwa lami. Nikakaa nikafikiria, and then it started raining. So I think the cold brought me back
The
to
reality is
myself.
like, oh, it's raining.
It started raining and then it was so cold. So I was like, okay, what have I done? Like
Yeah.
right now, if someone like did something to me,
Yeah.
what would I say? Like I was
Ulikuwa
doing.
unaenda
Nilikuwa naenda wapi?
Yeah.
And then he called me 2 times.
We
And then
didn't
akaona,
speak.
akanitext akaniambia, tell me where you're going so that I know if I'll close the door. Nothing like, are you okay? Where? Nothing.
You know, it's a logic.
No, let me tell you the logic behind that. Let me now tell you the
You're
logic.
just trying to find out if she's okay.
No, let me tell you
Hakuna
the logic.
kitu
No, let me
kama
tell you the
hiyo.
logic. The logic behind that text is, okay, so where we live, for context, is where we live, we have a couple of our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, because she's so angry and she's left, she's probably going to
One
cool off.
of them.
And the couple of friends we live around, one of them is her best friend. So nilikuwa kwa kila nilikuwa like, labda ameenda kwa best friend yake, kurelax,
Yeah.
alafu atakama asubuhi. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a big deal. You know.
Hakujua ametembea kwa hii
Now for me,
barabara yote.
I also like in my mind I was also like I don't want to involve people. As in, you know, like when you start involving people, it becomes a thing. Me, in my opinion, that's what
Yeah.
it is. Like the next time I'm going to fight, I'll know where to go and
Yeah, so it will be
it
comfortable.
will be like a
Yeah.
comfort zone for me. I didn't
Yeah.
want that. I just wanted
Makes
to
sense.
go out there and not to be in the same space with him.
Okay.
Yeah, so nikatembea, like by there I walked.
For real?
Yeah, because when you texted me that I was like,
Hata siendi.
hata siendi,
Oh, sawa.
hata sirudi. But sasa nikapigwa na baridi.
Ukasema, hey, let me go
Wacha
back.
nirudi. So that experience made me realize that when I get angry, I become very, very emotional. And I didn't like that version of myself. So the next fight was in 31st, a major fight. And me, I was very, very, I can't even remember why we fought, but it was a big fight. And I remember I was giving Karongo the silent treatment. And then him is just, tell me, let's talk right now. I'm like, I don't want to talk,
about
just
it.
give me time. Akanipush, ikafika mahali, I said very, very mean things, very, very bad things. He turned pink. His ears.
Oh, kijana like
Anakwanga na uso ingine ya huruma.
oh, yeah.
Huyu kijana wa wenyewe.
Oh, no.
I said very, very mean things.
Yeah.
So now, like when I saw now his face start, so now it was my turn to apologize.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm sorry. Because we're not even going to come. It
Yeah,
was
I
bad.
remember.
You remember that day? We told you that story.
We
Yeah.
didn't even come together.
We came
We came
together.
together.
But how did you tell me the story before?
See, when you were eating dinner, we told you that story when you were eating
Yeah.
dinner.
No, I knew you were fighting before we even went to Namanga.
Really?
Yeah, you
We
told
knew
me.
that. I think you got
Probably, but
No,
you
No,
know
no, but
something.
there's a place we were walking, and then
you
you
come
guys
back
were
here.
walking by there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really apologize.
I don't remember where, but I
Yeah.
remember that part.
Yeah, so now I told him, when you see, I don't know if I've ever told you, I think I told you because we had that conversation like way after we came back and all
Yeah.
that. And so I told him, like, when you see I'm very, very angry, just give me time to process my emotion. I like that actually for myself. I want some alone time,
Yeah.
process my emotions. Like in my mind, I'm like, you are I'm going to leave this. I know I won't, but I need
You
to go
want
through that in my mind, so that by the time I come out, I am sober and wiser, and I know how to
What to
deal
say.
with the situation.
Yeah.
So like I want to say now the most recent was, it was like a small misunderstanding. Karomo had done something, and I kind of walked na mabishte wake for like 3 hours, and then he came back. So in that whole time, I was angry at him for like 3 hours. I was so angry. I'm like, I'm going to leave this marriage. In fact, I have a friend who lives in Kisere. I'm like, natoka hapa naenda Kisere. Akifika ni party. Eh! And then I sat. I was like, okay, let me listen to a sermon, because in my mind it was going wild. It was like a lot was going on. So I listened to a sermon. I relaxed. I thought about it. I was like, okay, our marriage it's bigger than this. Like, this is something small. This is something we can deal with.
Yes.
I calmed myself down, and I was just like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I even got something to tell him. So, and then he came back, and then hasira ikarudi.
Oh, come on,
And I realized I'm still angry. So he came, and then he saw, yako sawa.
Retract.
Yeah, but
There's usually a tone.
I told him, just I want to sleep on it. So the next morning, I was able to communicate.
Yeah.
And the minute I communicated and I forgave him, I was okay, and I moved on. So now that's where I am. I have learned to just take my time, deal with my emotions. By the time I speak out, I am so I'm not churning out emotions. You know, the bishop was saying. Our bishop says women we churn out, we are emotional
machines.
Yes, we emotional machines.
We never run out.
And it's not bad to be emotional, but also there's a wisdom to it.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, there's a wisdom to it.
So I remembered what I was going to say. I think Makena realized something recently. She had always thought that whenever I would go ahead with my day, like for me, everything was okay. Like, deal na your story, and I've gone and I've done.
Yeah.
So it was during that fight that I told her, babe, just because I've said let's talk about this later, and I go and do other things, it doesn't mean
I don't
that I'm okay. Until I got my stuff all together, I'm not feeling anything. I'm feeling all of it. I'm going through it. It's just that I know I also have other things to do.
So I think what I'm getting from what we're all sharing is that you need to know your person, and how you know your person is if the other person communicates, and if you also communicate.